Corley Moore, spending a few minutes here at the beginning to talk about the Vigilantes. If you know me, you know I love this group. And if you are not already a Vigilante, you need to ask yourself why you are not. There are so many great things about being a member. You get the first look at the behind the scenes of the scrap. You get to have input on the future direction of the scrap. There are the Vigilante meetups, the Vigilante only swag shop, the merch discounts, the fireaways, the VIP forums, which are like scraps, but you get to log in and be involved on the screen talking to the person. It's great, man, and all the Vigilantes are invited. You get the files, you get the posts, you get the questions and the polls, but the best part, besides all of that stuff, the best part is that you get to belong to a community of like-minded souls. And when you have that, when you belong to a community of like-minded souls like that, man, it is powerful. Especially in this calling, especially in this profession. When you have that, you are never alone. So go to patreon.com/thevigilantes and join today. It's $5 a month. $5 a month. I used to say it's the price of a cup of coffee, but that's not even true anymore because you can't hardly get a cup of coffee for $5 a month. It's the best value in the fire service. So go to patreon.com/thevigilantes and go sign up today. Become a member of the Cool Kids Club. Come hang out. I look forward to seeing you there.
Introducing the Affordable Bailout Prop, another innovative training solution by Affordable Drill Towers. The Affordable Bailout Prop is a durable and affordable training tool that allows firefighters to enhance their skills with real-world training in your parking lot or on your apparatus floor. Most fire departments only require annual PSS qualification, which isn't enough to develop muscle memory. When seconds count, you must be able to deploy your PSS and quickly escape by seating your hook in the sill or using a remote anchor point. With an overall height under 12 feet, a 5x7 footprint, and 12-inch heavy-duty swivel casters with double locks, the Affordable Bailout Prop can be easily moved between your parking lot and apparatus floor. Constructed of pressure-treated 4x4s, the window frame dimensions mimic the Denver drill window prop with a sill height of almost 8 feet, featuring a pressure-treated 2x12 sill. The rappel wall is made of 8 2x10s screwed into batten boards. All parts, including the windowsill and rappel wall, are designed to be easily replaceable if they become worn. A vertical ladder provides access to the deck, which is approximately 4 foot above ground level. In addition to window and ladder bailout drills, you can also train on removing victims through the window, whether handing the victim to another firefighter on the ladder or using the ladder as a high point. Don't stop with rescue drills. Consider advancing a hose line through the window and learn methods to overcome the challenges. Or hone the mechanics of VES, Vent Enter Search. The uses are endless and up to your imagination, creating an enormous value. With its inspiration coming from the events of FDNY's Black Sunday, Affordable Drill Towers donates 10% of all proceeds from the Affordable Bailout Prop to the Lieutenant Joseph P. DiBernardo Memorial Foundation. The Affordable Bailout Prop is available as a kit that you assemble, or fully assembled, where we train you how to assemble in the future. Elevate your training regimen with the Affordable Bailout Prop, setting a new standard in fire department training excellence. Reach us at 84455 Towers or info@affordabledrilltowers.com.
Here we go. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 256. My guest tonight is none other than Bryan Lloyd. Over 24 years for the Tulsa Fire Department, he has served on the TFD rescue team, the hazmat team, but he spent the majority of his time working on an engine. He is currently the chief of training for the Tulsa Fire Department, as well as the founder and current chief elder of the Oklahoma Smoke Diver Program. Bryan has worked as an instructor for Oklahoma State University Fire Service Training, as well as serving as an adjunct instructor for the Tulsa Community College. Prior to joining the Tulsa Fire Department, he spent 6.5 years in the Army, where he enjoyed shooting machine guns and blowing things up. I am excited this evening for what I hope to be an amazing conversation with amazing audience questions. Welcome, my brother, Bryan Lloyd, as the guest of Weekly Scrap number 256.
Yeah, what's up, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Brother, I'm excited. I really am. Just before the show and talking to you and the times I've met you at classes, I'm really excited trying to make this happen. And now we actually have. Is there anything I missed in the intro? Anything you want to add?
I think you covered it all, man. Thanks.
Love it. Let's talk about those beautiful sponsors. The OG sponsor of the scrap, Keyhose. Check them out online at keyhose.com and follow them on Facebook. Affordable Drill Towers, on a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props like the Affordable Bailout Prop, which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high point rescues. Then they make the Affordable Standpipe Prop, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory and roll it out into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures. And of course, their mainstay, the Affordable Drill Tower. It comes in several configurations and comes standard with a standpipe system. Choose from 1 or 2 sets of stairs, integrated into your existing Connect boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models are NFPA 1402 compliant and gain you ISO credit. The only thing that you can't do on an Affordable Drill Tower is live fire training. Call Steve, 844-55-TOWER, or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. And finally, firestationfurniture.com provides a complete line of quality furniture for your firehouse. Firefighter owned and operated, they absolutely understand the strain firefighters put on furniture and offer furniture that's built to last. Visit www.firestationfurniture.com for more information. There we go. We got it. Sponsors are done. I'm texting the wife to say, give me some AC because I'm burning up in here. So she's going to take care of that. And then I'm kicking it right to you. Brother, we got so much to talk about, but I want to lead off with the one of the things you sent me in the email when we were doing the prep for the thing. You said what the citizens expect when they call 911, and you also have a unique perspective on this.
Yeah. So like, I know I'm number 255 or 6. You've had a lot of big time pipe hitters on here talking about a lot of great stuff. And so I was trying to think, what is something that I could possibly offer that other guys haven't brought? And I felt like I got a unique perspective on why citizens call 911, what they expect. The story I'm going to share, probably a lot of the guys in my department don't even know it. A lot of my close friends, they know it. It's something I share it with every smoke diver class, sometimes with the cadets. But like I said, it took me a long time to be able to talk about it. But as far as what the citizens expect, I think it's interesting. I've asked some of my non-firefighter friends that question over the years. And, the funny thing is, a lot of times it locks people up. They don't even know. It's like, it's usually like, oh, I expect you to take care of us if we get here. I think they don't put a lot of thought into it.
Right.
And it's something that they look up to us. They think we're going to show up and take care of business. So one of the things that I asked in the smoke diver class, and I asked every cadet class, I said, who here has called 911? And, invariably one person, maybe 2 people raises their hand. And I say, did you ever think when you picked that phone up, did it ever cross your mind that the person that could show up would not know what to do? And it's the emphatic no. The public just assumes that when they call us, they're getting a truck full of highly trained professionals that can take care of any problem, and it's the reason that we get the free lunches. It's the reason people look up to us, call us heroes. I can remember probably a couple years after 9/11, I was in the store and we were grocery shopping. We're walking down the aisle. This mom's pushing her little kid, and I hear her whisper. She's like, hey, look, those guys are heroes. And I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I'm looking around like thinking there was some other
person.
Around, like, thinking there was someone else there. And I realized they're talking about us. Another time, and before I came to the training center, I worked at Station 22. If any of those guys are listening, they will laugh when I tell this story. But there's this single mom that used to bring her kids in. But the funny thing is she'd hang out forever. But
right, of course,
she was telling us one time, I heard her telling her kids, like, I want you to see what good men look like. And that's something that really impacted me.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, it really impacted me. And so, before I go off into the story, like when I first came onto the fire department, I was a train wreck. I thank God every day and this is the truth. I say a prayer every day when I'm coming to work, thanking God for the opportunity to serve the Tulsa Fire Department and that my life turned out like it did. And I came out of the military. I was dealing with a lot of anger. I was kind of a train wreck. And thank God I met my wife, Ginger. I've heard multiple guys on here give their wife props, saying that the reason they're here is because their wife. That is the truth with my wife.
100%, brother.
She is the reason I'm where I'm at today. So, Ginger Lloyd, thank you. But going off into the story, what happened is I was in the military. I was previously married, and I'd been deployed. I was on a year-long deployment. I'd come back, and I'm sitting there hanging out with my wife and another dude, and I didn't know it. And my wife had she had an undisclosed to me medical condition, something that hadn't happened in a long time. And long story short, she passed away. She went down, passed away in front of me. And so I'm sitting there, and my buddy, he calls 911. So we're in Germany, so we're at 911, same difference. But I'm sitting there, and it was the most helpless feeling in my mind, or it was the most helpless feeling I've ever encountered. And I remember sitting there thinking, please send the best dudes that you've got to my house. Please. I just remember, like, I didn't know what to do. And I was just thinking, please send your best dudes here, and some guys or girls that can show up and take care of the situation, man. And I think, like, that's you, that's me, that's every person that's listening right now. That's every person that's sitting out there in those fire stations waiting on the tones to drop. And I think that it's something, especially the longer you're on, that it's easy to forget that, because like we have a lot of sayings in the fire service. One of them is like, oh, every time someone calls 911, it's their worst day. And after you hear that like 8,000 times,
right,
it just kind of becomes another slogan, man. But that's what's so awesome about this job is, and I think the people that forget it, they're probably not listening to this podcast right now. I like the whole mutts don't scrap thing. I think it's pretty cool. So, the people listening to this are not the ones that need a reminder. But I feel like I've got a unique perspective just to offer some insight on it. And, like we all get those calls where, and believe me, man, I've been there. I was at everyone's like says I work at the busiest stations, but I worked at one of the busiest stations in the city of Tulsa when I was a captain, making, I think the busiest here is close to 4,000 calls. So, you're making the my foot hurts, you're making the famous 3 a.m. call of, hey, my toe hurts. And then You're like, how long has that been going on? Well, 3 days, but you wait till 3 a.m. to call a truck full of EMTs. Thanks, bro. Right. Or like one I remember where breathing problems, we get there, the chick's like 21, there's 37 packs of cigarettes, and I see like an asthma inhaler. And so like we make all those calls, and you can become immune to that saying, like every time someone calls, it's their worst day. But for every one of those calls that you got to wade through, there's someone out there like me who's making that call, who's just hoping to God that the squared away crew shows up. And like a lot of your other guests have said, they don't get to pick who shows up, man. And I think one of the things that I love about this job is, we get the chance to we get the chance to show up and be the stopgap. We get the chance to affect that outcome of someone's life positively. And, Chief Rhodes, every smoke diver class, he gives a speech that it's unbelievable, man. And now it's Jason Casto, and he gives an awesome speech as well. But, they talk about, one of the gifts of being a firefighter is you get to give someone the most precious thing on the planet Earth that money can't buy. And that is more time, and it's more time with the people you care about. And so it's this, what a citizen expects when they call 911 is someone to show up and take care of their problems. And so it's like, man, every time you just don't feel like getting up and doing anything, if you hear nothing else I say, just hear that someone's counting on you to show up and help them. And that if that's not something that drives you to action, then in my mind, it's time for you to move on down the road and go do something else.
Wow. Brother, I don't know. Yeah. Way to come out the gate swinging, man.
Rest is it's all positive from here.
Okay.
It's all positive.
Brother, 100%, man. I'm telling you, if they get nothing else out of it than that reframe, then this crap is worth it. I will tell you that straight up. I'm going to catch you up on, because I usually do this before we start, and there is so much hype here before we even started. But checking in from Frisco, Texas comes from Daniel Croson. Ryan King wants to know what's the good word. There's questions about the Smoke Diver program. We will get to it. Caleb Shelley said, LFG, looking forward to tonight's conversations. Mike X said, let's friggin' go, with, I think that's 8 exclamation points. Absolutely, man. AJ Morrison said, the Hawk is in the house. 22.
AJ's a pipe hitter, man. He saved like 8 people in like 1 year or something crazy, man. He's a solid dude, man.
Love it. And there's just more. There's, again, it's hard to keep up, but I want to get the hype in. But holy smokes, what an opening. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where. Hey, audience, the things I forgot. Please get your questions in for Bryan and myself. Sam is here. He is grabbing your questions, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about. I'm going to get there and go with – oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to throw out, I see all your guests. They always have their mugs.
Okay.
Talk about what's in it. Mine is water because my daughter challenged me to the 75 hard thing, that 75 hard workout. I told her like 3 times. I'm like, she's like, hey, you want to do this with me? No. And like 2 weeks later, you want to do this with me? No. And then I'm like, what kind of dad am I if I'm not setting the example here? So like, yeah, I'm trying to knock out my gallon of water for the day. So
where are you at? What day are we on?
I'm starting like week 3, man.
So you're day 21-ish?
I'm somewhere 20, 21. I'm tired of eating the same crap already. Yeah.
So have you had to reset it all? No. Is this the first? Okay. Yeah, excellent. Hey, more power to you, bro. Hey, 75 hard. It's called hard for a reason. It's a hard thing to accomplish. More power to you, man. Absolutely. Blake, coming at you from the Vigilantes. He wants to know what keeps you motivated. And I think we just heard part of it, but it's a great question. I want to throw it at you.
Man, pretty much the story I just told keeps me pretty motivated. But the reality is, and I've heard other guys talk about it, is, man, the fire service is like a roller coaster. And 24 years and a couple months in, I've been super motivated at times. There's been times where I've been, there've been times where I've been not so motivated, quite honestly. What keeps me motivated right now is, I'm at the training center. One of the things that I love about it is the cool thing about the training center versus the field, which, man, going into a hot fire is one of the best adrenaline rushes there is. But one of the cool things about the training center is I love when an academy starts and you get to see these young guys and girls coming in and they don't know anything. And then 5 months later, there's like an actual tangible product. Like you've seen like this complete transformation. And so that has really helped keep me motivated. Aside from that, the dudes I work with, and everyone says this, but it's the truth. If you surround yourself, it's like that saying that says, if the circle of people that you hang with don't want to make you step your game up. It's time to find a new circle. So, man, it's the easy thing is I surround myself with dudes that are better than me, and I've got no choice but to stay motivated and keep moving forward, or I'll get left behind, man.
Love
And
it.
then a big part at a crucial time in my career where I was kind of like not in cruise mode, but I was doing it. I was having fun. I met Rhodes, and I became involved with David Rhodes and all the, like, too many dudes to the list with the Georgia Smoke Divers. And man, it just re-energized my career. I'm so thankful to the men and women in that program. I could spend the entire thing talking about how much I owe those dudes, man. And then just like the big thing that keeps me motivated is every day when I go to work, I talk to myself. I'm a big believer in self-talk. And it's something I tell the cadets is I tell myself, I don't have to do this. I get to do this, man. I get to go in. There's nothing else on this earth that I would rather be doing. Well, there's one thing. If I could front a heavy metal band, maybe that would be it. But I can't sing. I can't play an instrument. Other than that, I don't have to do this job. I get to do it, and I'm thankful every day for that. And it keeps me motivated, man.
Rock on, brother. What a great answer. Coming from Blake, still same person, and I love this question. Favorite engine bay / living room training for rainy, snowy, miserable, hot days that you can't go outside?
Well, something that we did, and if I could probably throw some names out there. If Captain James Yoder is listening, which is crazy. Like, I'm getting old enough that rookies I had were captains.
Wow.
But I can remember like his first week at the station or something. We were at one of the bigger stations, 2 company station, 4 bays. And so like he came in and when rookies come in, I'm like, okay, what have you guys been working on? What's your favorite thing? What are some things that you didn't get as much training on, and kind of picking their brain and building scenarios off that. So he talked about wanting some like search and rescue training. So we basically set up you know how it is when you get like 4 firefighters together and you have to like rein dudes back because they're creating the most evil, nasty obstacle course
Right.
in the bay of Station 2-4, and we're putting them through it. But man, a lot of times this is what I tell guys, especially coming through the academy, like, training doesn't have to be some 2-hour or 4-hour or 6-hour thing, man. It can be as simple as going out into the bay. In Tulsa, the ladders have the RIP bags and the chief have the RIP bags. It can be pulling that out, spending 15 minutes going over your RIP procedures. It can be taking your radio out. Like, and I was one of them, man. Like, hand a dude a radio and say, walk me through this thing. Tell me everything it can do. Tell me what's going to happen if you have a mayday. Tell me about the EIB. How do you reset it? How do you turn it on? How do you turn off? How do you reset it? So man, I feel like maybe I'm not giving you a straight up answer, but I feel like it's limited by your imagination. The cool thing is there are so many, like, you get online, there are so many like training tips, like FDTN has a newsletter. I'll print that out. But pretty much my go-to is safety and survival drills, man. I like that kind of stuff.
Love it. And if they have a problem with your answers, I was trying to say all I have is Blake. I don't know, because it was in the Vigilantes where you asked that. It might be Blake Schneider. It might be Blake. I mean, there's a lot of Blakes. So, but if they have a problem with your answer, I don't think. Yeah, phenomenal answer. Phenomenal answer. There's already been a few max points given out. Only I give out max points. But no, I'm just kidding. It's absolutely with the help of the studio audience. But here we go. I'm going to give you one more coming at you from the Blake. Thoughts on companies offering scholarship-like giveaways for conferences they're affiliated with. I don't know where to go with that, but just a thought that just crossed my mind. Conferences can get expensive when you're doing it on your own dime. Even if it's free admission, could help someone a lot. What do you think?
As far as like scholarships, as far as who's paying for it, like the rest of the crew?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Blake's question, and I'm throwing it at you because that's
I
what I
don't know, man. I think whatever you got to do to get there, and if that's one way to do it. I remember early on in my career, I was very fortunate the first couple of years to get to go to some cool training, but then we kind of went through, like, every city we're driven by dollars. And I can remember putting in for training several times and getting turned down. It was kind of disheartening. And I can remember I'm a firefighter making, like, I actually keep everything. That's the thing from the military. I keep every piece of paper I've ever had.
Right.
And I was looking through some tax stuff. I pulled out my tax return for my first year, and I thought, my God, how did I survive making that? But I remember I was trying to go to some training. It was $500 to go, and I'm like, I can't pay for that. And the dudes at my station knew I wanted to go, and I'm at a 2-company station with hazmat was there, so there was like 10 dudes. And they all chipped in and they paid for half of it, $250. This is like when $250 is like $750 now, probably. It was something I'll never forget, man. It was so awesome. So I don't know what like format you're talking about, a giveaway, but any way that you can get there, if your department can't pay for it, any way you can get there, man. And the cool thing is, like, I've heard 8 million guys on this podcast talk about, if you reach out to a place, I know that we put on training, and you say like, man, I'm strapped a little bit for cash, but I really want to come do this. I don't know too many guys that are going to be like, hey, bro, you can't come.
You can't come. Yeah, no,
if it's something that myself or the kind of guys I hang with are putting on, we're going to find a way for you to get there, man. So any way you can get there, you got to make it happen.
Right on. No, and I'll echo that, man. Is any way you can get there, get there. If it's, I don't care, pass the hat, whatever. It is worth it. But again, what Bryan said, if you reach out to them, man, there's very few that are just like, no, you can't come. Have you ever heard this before? There's an action adventure actor from the 1990s, early 2000s that resembles you a lot.
Yeah, I've heard it, man.
Okay, just checking, because it came up in chat. They said Bruce, Bryan Lloyd. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was just I heard it a lot when I was younger.
He resembles you.
But we were in Chile. I said it Chile like a regular American, but I was corrected like 10 times. I'm still not sure exactly how to say it, but we were over there doing some training about 3 months ago, and I got stopped a couple times by the Chileans. They were calling me Bruce Willis. I was like, whatever, man.
Did you sign some autographs?
No.
They
saw the tattoos. They're like, that ain't Bruce Willis.
That ain't him. That ain't him. That's awesome. No, Cy Younger said that was Cy Younger who threw that out there, or C Younger. You may know C Younger. I don't know, but it was still a great. Chris Scott coming at you. This is the Dragon from down in Louisiana. He said, I know it's a tough question. But what about regret? What's your biggest regret? It's essentially rewording what lessons have you learned, but I think it might have value as an answer. So I love the question. So I was going to throw it at you.
Chris, we could spend the next however long this podcast goes on with me talking about the mistakes I've made and the regrets. We have to back up a dump truck to outside the station. I could fill it up. But one of the biggest regrets, and this was not in the fire service. This is when I was in the military, and I got out as a sergeant. I was the assistant squad leader, so I had like 6 to 8 dudes, depending on promotions, kind of like the fire service, in and out. And I was the only married guy in the squad, so I tried to I'm young, man. At the time, I'm like 23. Like, it's crazy now because like 23 and 25, you're in charge of so much stuff, and you got like 18-year-old dudes looking up to you. And I would always invite them to my house at holidays, and I would try just be a good guy and a friend, but I was also their boss. And, I thought I did all right. And, so years later, I've been out, and probably like 10 years after I got out, and then computers, internet, all that started, there's all these sites where you could find your buddies that you used to be stationed with. Because what's crazy about the military, a lot of times you get out and you don't see these dudes you're talking to for 10 years.
Right.
Well, I start getting emails like, hey, we're so-and-so is looking for you. Well, I see the name of one of the guys that was in my squad. And at the time I was in mechanized infantry. And so you're in tanks, APCs, and the driver's compartment's this tiny little compartment, and it's usually smaller dudes in there. Well, this guy, he was like, 6'2", 220. The other thing about the military that's interesting is like, you're with guys that away from the military, you would probably not ever hang out with them.
Right.
But you become super tight. So this guy was a little different, but like he was super smart. He was super mechanically inclined. So I'm like, hey, bro, you're the driver. He's like, I can barely fit in this freaking apartment. I'm like, I need you, man. I counted on him. He drove me. He was he did so much stuff right. But man, I was young in a leadership position. And when the other dudes were like making fun of them, I would kind of join in. It's good natured. I'd be clowning them too, man. And I'm learning, man. I'm still learning how to be in charge of people. And so I see his name pop up on one of those sites, like, hey, it's so and so. And so I call him. We start talking. We talk for a long time, but I'm like, hey, man, I've always wondered. I'm a fireman now, and I wasn't in charge yet of anything, but I'm like, I'm going to try to promote and how do I do? How give me some honest feedback. And he was like, man, like tactically, I felt like you were good, and I felt safe. And like when we got deployed, I felt like you knew what was going on and everything. But how you talk to me, like when those other guys would like get on me, he goes, I looked up to you as like the leader and like the guy that's supposed to have my back and not get in on that. And like, he goes, he's like, it hurt me, man. He goes, I looked up to you so much. And when you would join with those guys and clown me, he goes, it made me feel like this big, man. And dude, it locked me up. I'm not a big crier, but I about freaking shed a tear. I apologized to him for like 20 minutes. I ended up calling him like weeks later again, like, bro, I'm so sorry. So like that's one of the regrets. And it taught me when I came on to the fire service that once you get into a leadership position, like you can join in, you can have some of the fun and everything, but like you can't, guys are looking, girls, they're looking up to you, man. So that's my biggest regret is, that I did not learn how to correctly talk to the guys that I was in charge of. And some I'll never forget. And it's something that I've tried to remember throughout my fire service career, that you're put in this leadership position for a reason, and guys are looking up to you, and you just can't do that, man. I mean, you get what I'm saying.
No, brother, it's a great story, brother.
It's like learning how to talk to people, and yeah, man. So that's probably one of my biggest things right there.
No, you're the farther up you go, the less you can afford to be careless. Like plain and simple. I don't know what better way to say it. You just
and it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard, especially at the fire station when like I was the captain. They'd be like doing these jokes and saying stuff, and I'd be over there like, I want to join in so bad. And I'm like, I just wanted to jump on this dude because it's so funny,
right?
But and so don't get me wrong, like I'm still having fun and joking around,
yes.
Like on the stuff where they're like cutting to the bone, like firefighters do. I'm like, I can't. I would just get up and I would walk to my office, or I would just like go act like I'm doing something else, and like I don't want them to, that's how that's how dudes are, period.
Well, you know how elaborate and in depth firefighters can get with their and one of the things that for me as I promoted up and is they would call and say, hey chief, we need your help on this one. We need you to say this, and this, so we can, and you'd have to realize is like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna mislead somebody underneath me, not underneath. But I don't have the leeway to do that because the trust means more to me than your joke, even though I really appreciate the effort that has gone into this joke, and I wish I could.
You're dead on. And the other thing I've learned is as I promoted up is like when guys are doing that, they're trying to get you to come in on it, but they're testing you. They want to see, is he gonna get in on this, or is he going to be the guy that doesn't? And I feel like I know for a fact that there have been times where guys have tried to get me to, hey, or they'll say something about some dude and they're waiting for a response. And that's the time you just get up, walk off and make some coffee, or you know what I'm saying? But it's hard, but it's a lesson I learned. I'm not perfect, but I've tried to not ever do that again.
No. And the thing is and the microtransactions or whatever you want to call them, that build that trust between you and those people you're responsible for. Over time, they add up into something that's, you don't realize how much weight they carry until that late night over, let's make a pot of coffee and talk about it type moment. And then you realize how much those things meant.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man.
Dude, powerful. Greg White coming at you. I don't know if I want to get into smoke diving just yet. I'm gonna go to J-Lo. J-Lo out of OKC coming at you. What intrigued you to go to training from Justin Lorenzen?
Well, it's a funny story I was telling Corley before we started. So I didn't have a choice. So, like initially, like most departments, when you get on the list, everyone starts jockeying for positions and, hey, I want this spot, and you're calling in all the favors and deals that if you've done a good job in your career, hopefully you can get to, a spot. I thought I was going somewhere else. And about a few days before, I find out I'm not going there, that I'm going to be the new chief of training. I remember I was riding out, I was working on an overtime shift, and I was actually driving another captain when the deputy chief showed up to the station with my white helmet. He's like, congratulations, you're a chief. It was a Friday. He's like, be at the training center on Monday. I'm like, all right. So that is initially how I got out there. So fast forward, I started doing it. And initially I'm thinking, how fast can I get back to the field? And then I started enjoying it. I really enjoy the cadet classes. But one of the things was I'm out there. Well, as the training chief, you're developing training, not just for cadets, for firefighters, for drivers, for captains, for chiefs. I'm sitting out there thinking, how am I going to, like, one thing that I will not ever do, I'm not going to try to train someone on something that I've never done. And I went and talked to the chief, and I just said, I'm out here, doing some of the expected to develop training for the chiefs. I've never done the job. And I would like to get back to the field. So I went back to the field for 4 years, 4 years, couple months. And the training center was coming open again. And I had the chance to go back. And so, yeah, I said, yeah, I enjoyed it. I missed it. So I went back out there. What intrigues me is, like I said, I like, there's so much stuff, one, I'm getting older, and could I still do the job of a captain? Yeah. But I've had 2 hip replacements. I've had a couple other surgeries related to being a firefighter. I'm getting a little banged up. The training center, I thought, hey, this is something that I enjoy doing. It's going to allow me to slow down. I thought that's actually not true at all. So I would go back out there. But the other thing that intrigues me is I like learning, man. I still like learning. Like, when I went to the smoke diver class when I was 44 years old, I'm looking at right now, or last year I put in money in the budget to try to get money for us to go to FDTN. I still want to do some of those classes. What intrigues me is I still like learning, man. And, the thing about being out there, especially being the training chief, is, and it's just something I've learned that maybe I can help some guys with, is you get to a certain point of your career and it's like, it's embarrassing to say, I don't know something, man. And I feel like the higher up you go, it's like what I've seen at the training center is dudes don't want to say they don't know something. And I'm the training chief, and there's things I don't know. I'm still learning things. And, one of the things that I tell the guys at the training center, and a lot of the guys have heard it, is this is maybe a younger audience, but for the older guys and girls out there, there's this movie called, it's got Frank the Tank, Will Ferrell, where he's like they're at the college.
My Boy Blue, yeah.
My Boy Blue. Yeah, that movie. My Boy Blue.
Why are we pulling a blank on the name of the movie?
But it's that movie. Well, there's the scene where he's like
old school.
So
Thank
old
you.
school.
Thank you, See Younger.
Yeah. There's this scene where like he's in counseling and the counselor guy's like, hey, we're in the trust tree here. You can say anything. And then he starts saying this crazy stuff. His wife gets mad. But like, I relate that to the training ground is I tell the people that, the cadets, the guys in the field, I'm like, and it's kind of a joke, but I mean it. Like, look, we're in the trust tree. Whatever happens out here, whatever questions you ask, they are not leaving the training center. Would you rather look stupid, and which you're not looking stupid because the fact that you care enough to ask the question, you're not looking stupid. But would you rather feel uncomfortable there and ask a question that you don't know, and to be able to take that knowledge that you learn and apply that 6 hours later on a house fire that night, or would you rather hold it in? And I'm telling you, I feel everyone out there that knows what I'm saying, like, you can never, and I've heard this on other podcasts, like to me, it's crazy how many like modalities that we are expected to master. Like you could pick one thing in the fire service. technical rescue, whatever, pumping, search and rescue. One hazmat could take you years and years to master, but we are expected to master all these things. And I've only honestly met a few guys that I feel like have. So, I'll stop there. But what intrigues me is I like watching the aha moments when people learn something. I still enjoy learning. So yeah, that's what made me want to go back.
Dude, great. Dude, I love this scrap so far. I don't know if you can keep up this pace, but I'm going to keep throwing questions at you. So I don't know if it's just because of the water, you're so well hydrated and the 75 hard is kicking. But whatever the reason is, man. Gary Bullock has a great question coming out. He said,
Yeti.
You know him.
That's the Yeti. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of your thoughts on how to reach a mental toughness that would be expected to be successful in the fire service?
Oh man, how long you got? I don't know, man. I could talk about mental toughness for hours, man. I get asked that a lot.
I love hearing it. So you go whatever direction you want. Audience will grab teeth, but go.
So here's my thoughts on mental toughness, man. Like when I get asked that, I think there's some people that they're just, man, I think you can learn to be mentally tough. I don't think I know you can. But then I think there's other people that their life situations, how they've been brought up, how they've lived their life. I met a lot of dudes in the military that came from nothing. Like when they tell me their stories, I'm like, my God, I had it good. If you like, I'm a big reader like you. So I read all the time. I don't watch a lot of TV, but like the Goggins books, for instance, that dude's a freak. But if you read his backstory of what he went through and what his life was like, he went through so much stuff. And there's other people out there that have gone through much stuff that like you put them in these hard situations. They're like, all I got to do is run 100 miles. Dude, I did this, But I think for the fire service and here's, I'll just say it, man. Like early on, there was people that didn't agree with some of my training methodologies, and maybe they were too intense. But a lot of dudes loved them. And I've heard like, we're not training Navy SEALs. We're not training this or that.
Yes.
And we're not. But what we are training is people that are expected to go in. It's another one of those things and save my wife and save my son and my daughter. And they're the most precious things. So like, how can you say you're training someone too hard when that's what you're preparing them for? So as far as to be successful in the fire service, how I think mental toughness works is like, as far as someone that's like asking, how do I build it? It's just like most of the people that are listening to the scrap are already doing the right thing. So it's like when you work out, what happens to your hands over time? You build calluses right here. Okay. When you're in a manual labor profession, like the majority of the firefighters that do this stuff on their off days, what happens to your hands? They become callous. You got to do the same thing to your mind, man. And I feel like you have to put yourself into situations on a regular basis that are going to incrementally callous the mind. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and do a gear workout for an hour at 100 degrees and do 1,000 burpees.
Right.
Building mental toughness can be something as simple as I'm going to do a 5-minute ice bath today, or, I'm going to work out when I made 13 calls last night after midnight, or I'm exhausted, but I'm going to go around the block with my wife, or I'm going to pick up this book and finish reading it because it's going to help me be a better firefighter. And then, as you're doing that stuff, it's building your mental toughness. So like, there's my PC answer. Now the answer for like the dudes that are trying, and the girls, and when I say guys, like guys and girls that are trying to take it to the next level. And I'm no expert in this, man. Like, I do not have a degree in exercise physiology. I do not have a degree in psychology, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night for anyone that's seen this commercial. And so like, what I think about building mental toughness is one of the things I'll never forget. And a lot of my stories come from the military, and I used to always apologize for that, but I know that is what made me who I am in my formative years. And I remember I was part of a unit called Allied Mobile Force, which basically all that means is you're part of NATO, and each country of NATO puts like this group of Americans, this group of British, this group of whatever. So we're doing a month-long training session. We had all the different armies. I remember we got to go out to this range, and we had every weapon system from every army. We had machine guns, we had grenades, rifles, pistols. And one of the instructors, we got to shoot them all. It was awesome. Thousands of rounds, blowing stuff up. Awesome.
Yes.
But at the end, one of the instructors is walking down, and he goes, which one of these weapons is the most dangerous? And, one guy's like, probably that machine gun over there. One guy's like, probably that rocket, probably that AT-4 over there. In a typical Army fashion, he said, wrong, you're all wrong. He said, the mind is the deadliest weapon. And when you realize that, you become unstoppable, man. And so it's like that answer, how to get mental toughness to be a firefighter. Dude, it doesn't matter if you are a firefighter, if you're a soldier, if you're a cop, whatever job, it's building mental toughness. It's doing something on a daily basis, like that makes you uncomfortable, man. And like, you have to go and talking about, for the people that are wanting to like train for this thing, smoke diver, the 24-hour shift, some of them were the FDTN, some of those type of classes. It's like, you can't read a book and become mentally tough. You can't watch a podcast. This is my opinion. You can't watch a podcast and become mentally tough. You have to put yourself in those situations, man. And like, I call it the pain cave. Like, you got to go in the pain cave. And like, that is the place where you go in there. We've all been there. Maybe you're 30 minutes in a 40-minute gear workout. Maybe you're 13 miles into a half marathon. Whatever it is, and you're in the pain cave, and you hear that voice, and maybe other people haven't heard it. I've heard it, and that's that voice telling you like, you're not smart enough to do this. You're not good enough. You're overweight. How can you be in charge? It took your dumbass 10 times to promote. You're hearing that voice, but you keep pushing it. You keep pushing through, man. And like, whenever I'm getting ready to do anything challenging, I use self-talk, man. And you notice I didn't say positive self-talk, because it's usually not positive what I'm telling myself.
Right on.
But I'm going into try to build my mental toughness. I tell myself, I'm going into this room. There is no way out once I enter it other than completing this task. And I keep, that's it, man. Like, you put yourself in those situations, and like I said, you start small. You're not going to go out there and do an hour-long gear workout. We're not going to go out and force the door prop 40 times on the blacktop when it's 100 degrees. You gotta like, it's like any training, man. It's like crawl, walk, run. Like, you start here, 15 minutes, then you move the next thing. You know what I'm saying, man? It's incremental stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like the hands when you're working out. Your mind's the same way, man. You got to callous it. You got to build it up, and then it's just like that. If you read the Simon Sinek book, like, what's your why? That's another thing. Like, if like, what's your why? Why are you a firefighter? Why did you want to be in the fire service? A lot of us have good reasons, and then like, when you don't want to do this, you don't want to train, you don't want to work out, blah blah blah. You think, why am I here? And you go back to that. I know that can help people. So like I said, man, I could go on forever. I'm not going to.
I want to dig in. I love the answer. First of all, phenomenal answer. So thank you. And phenomenal question. And I love mental toughness. And specifically when you get to talk to Mr. Smoklahoma himself and ask about mental toughness. But you're a reader. Are you a fan of Band of Brothers? Dick Winters.
Oh yeah, I just rewatched it on Netflix here about a month ago. Matter of fact, yeah.
One of my favorite Dick Winters quotes is, mental toughness is the root, physical fitness is the root of mental toughness.
Yeah.
And I posted that, a few times, and I always get pushback that people are like, no, mental toughness will make you physically fit. But and this is what I want to run by you and dig into as far as how you feel about it. Like what he was talking about, it wasn't about the mental toughness to get in the gym because you're feeling lazy that morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about the mental toughness to say, I'm not feeling it today. I had a rough night last night. I'm going to go ahead and take a break. He was talking about when you're under like artillery shelling duress, cut off from everybody in the middle of the Ardennes forest, your physical fitness determines, because Patton said, fatigue makes cowards of
Yeah,
us
man.
all.
I was getting ready to say that. It's one of my favorite quotes. Like,
Yeah, okay.
it's like, yeah, man, like anyone that knows me, that they're probably tired of hearing it, man. It's like, and I tell every cadet class this. It's like I tell them before they even show up. I tell them week 1, week 2. I tell them I'm not going to say this anymore, but then I say it 8 more times. It's like if you and man, some people don't want to hear this. And again, this is my opinion, but when you raise your hand and you're swearing to protect the citizens, like part of that deal is you're saying I'm going to show up ready for the rest of my career, whether I'm 5 minutes in or 25 years on. You know, it's physical fitness. It has to be part of your daily routine. It's, man, yeah, you obviously have to learn the skills and become technically proficient. But if you're the most technically proficient guy at forcing a door and you're so out of shape that four rotations in when you're doing drills, you're gassed. It's like I tell, you know, it's like I heard this in the military. I say it all the time. You got 2 choices, man. You can be an asset or you can be a liability. And physical fitness and becoming proficient at your skills makes you an asset. And there's really no, I don't know how you argue that, man. I don't know how you argue that physical fitness. I mean, my gosh, in our department, one of the things like I didn't, you know, you always wonder like how your department stacks up against other departments. And
Absolutely.
And when I became the training chief, I started looking at all these other policies. We're freaking we're awesome, man. I love our department. Like I'm super proud to be told as a firefighter. We've had a physical fitness policy in place since I came on the job 24 years ago that basically says you have to pass the test that you got on every year, you know? So yeah, Tulsa holds a physical fitness in a high regard. I hold it in a high regard. I'm with you 100% on the Dick Winter stuff. Love that series. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm with you.
I love it. Caleb Shelley wants to know, do you think there is a time where mental toughness can cloud your judgment on the fire ground?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like there is a fine line of where ego comes into play. And especially like, hey, I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that because I refuse to accept defeat. Okay. That's not being mentally tough. That's being stupid. Okay.
Right. Chief, give us 2 more minutes. We got this.
Yeah,
we almost got this. We can't find it, but we almost got this.
Yeah, man. And I was that guy too, dude, as a captain. I get it. But yeah, 100%, that's a great answer. And yes, you know, there's a time to be mentally tough, but there's also a time to take everything that you've learned over the course of your career, especially in an IDLH environment. And man, if you got to call an audible, you know? So yeah, great question. But I 100% think that, man, you can't get so far into, this is me. This is what I'm known for is my mental toughness. I got to be a badass. I can't let anyone think this or that or the other. No, man, that's not how you do it.
Oh yeah, I gotta write my timestamp notes, so please bear with me. Sorry. Absolutely. I'm gonna throw you from one of my favorite people that lives in Texas. I have a lot of favorite people that live in Texas, but he's one of them. Devin Craig wants to know, what unexpected challenges did you have going through Smoke Diver at age 44?
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you, a lot. How about that? I had a lot. But again, man, like I'm not the dude that is going to sit up here and say, I crushed this or I crushed that. Cause I didn't. And, I'm also not going to ever be the dude that talks about like, I made mistakes over my career. I've learned from them. But one of the unexpected challenges is like, I got down there and I worked out for probably not me. There's a group of us, man. And I met Chief Rhodes and for breakfast one time, and I was like, hey, we're wanting to start this program. I'd already been through the Mississippi Smoke Diver program in 2003. So I'm already thinking, hey, I already done one. We just need some help getting this thing started. And he was like, kind of smirked at me. Steve Runyon was there. They were kind of looking at me like, who's this freaking guy? And he goes, you got to come through it, bro. I'm like, what? I was like, what? He goes, if you want the buy-in, you want the guys to help, you need to come through it. So I'm like, all right, man, see you in November. He told me later, they're like, yeah, sure, bro. So anyway, we start going back. We start training. In 44, man, I still felt pretty good. And I got down there and physically, yeah, it was hard. But there was never a time where I wanted to quit physically. But what was unexpected is, man, as a captain, some of the basic fundamental skills of being a firefighter, I hadn't done a lot of them, man. As a captain, like my guys are doing them. And one of the cool things about the smoke diver program is it ranks out the freaking window, man. They don't care if you are 3 months on or you're 25 years on, chief, you're doing the stuff. And like I had some deficiencies and it was very embarrassing, but it was also the best thing that could have ever happened to me at that point in my career, because it solidified the fact that like, it don't matter if I'm a chief, if I'm a firefighter, I got to know this stuff, man. And how am I expected to, lead dudes and tell them to do this if I can't do it? And there were some of the stations that like, I was embarrassed, man. Like I was so hard on myself. So when I got back, man, I'm out there forcing the door. I'm out there doing this, I'm doing that. So that was the biggest challenge. It kind of made me think, you can't ever get comfortable and just kick it. I guess you could. But guys they're going to see that, man. And if you want the buy-in, they got to know that you can and will do the same stuff that you're expecting them to do. Final answer.
I love it, brother. There's a lot of smoke diver questions coming at you. And so I'm going to throw them at you all at once here. This one comes from Derek. He had a few of them, but this one I think encapsulates it. And I'm going to answer it before you answer it, because I am a non-smoke diver. I have a t-shirt that says smoke diver supporter, right? And I earned that t-shirt because I do support the program 100%. But Derek 8 wants to know, what advice would you give for someone that is on the fence of attending a smoke diver class? Any recommendations? And before you answer, I'll let you think about it. I want to tell you, if you're on the fence about attending a smoke diver program, don't. It's okay. Go ahead.
So we did this. We got real lucky. And this media company approached us through one of our guys, was like best friends with this dude. And they're like, hey, we want to make this video. And some of you may have seen it. It's on the Facebook page. So I'm thinking it's going to be some dudes with like iPhones or like some cheap cameras. These dudes show up. They're making real movies. And it was pretty awesome. And Chad Miller, who's the chief operating officer, who, if it wasn't for Chad and a few other guys, when we started the smoke diver program, everything would have been written on cardboard with a Sharpie. That would have been me. And we would not be here without too many guys to name. But Chad said something in the video that he said, even if you come and fail, you are going to learn things that in failure are going to make you a better firefighter. So why not try? That's what he said. That's my answer, man. Like, if you were thinking about it, like, do it, man. Like, here's what I think. And again, I know Corley's a big reader. I love to read. I read this thing and I was trying to find the name I was going to tell you about, Corley. It wasn't a book. It was like just some internet article, but it was this guy that he was interviewing all these elderly people at the end of their life. And he would ask them like, hey, what's some advice or what's something that you wish you could change? Invariably, most of them said, I wish I did not have so many regrets at the end of my life. So if you were thinking about it, pull the trigger, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Rhodes says this. I love it. Most people won't make the freaking drive. Okay. So if you come and fail, hey, you tried. And I guarantee, even if you're not successful, you're going to meet men and women that are going to help you, that if you want to come back, it's an open book, man. It's not a secret organization. Any help you need, anyone's going to help you try to get there. So if you're thinking about it, sign up, come pull the trigger. I promise you, it will change your life for the better. It will change your life, and it will change the trajectory of your fire service career for the better. I promise you that.
Love it. Way better answer than mine. Way better answer. Bryan crushed it, man. I can't even, touch that. So that was way better than mine. Yeah, I'll bow down to that one. Okay, absolutely. There's so many coming at you. And I always encourage the guests to do this when you get a chance. And I have to tell people this. It's a live show. And so when I post it to YouTube, it takes about 24 hours before the comments will show up. So a lot of times the guests will go back to look at them the next morning and they're not there. But it takes about 24 hours. So just so you know, that's for everybody, but specifically for Bryan. Smoke diver questions. We got that one. Got one from Derek. Great answers. Second year Proby wants to know, what should I do for training for smoke divers? Which workouts with gear / and a SCBA ?
So, man, there's so many good programs out there. Like, that's the great thing about it is it's not a secret, man. It's not. I think there's the misconception. I think it's gotten a lot better the last couple of years, but that it's this secret organization that nobody wants people to know what's going on. That's not it, man. You get on our Facebook page. You can go back. We post all the first group that went. We wrote up a 22-week workout program. I know some guys from Indiana. They got with this company called SoFleet. It's SOFLETE. And one of the dudes, Nolan, I think he has like an exercise physiology degree. He wrote up with SoFleet the program. There's one posted on the Georgia Smoke Diver site. So, like I said, there's 3 options right there, man, that literally lay it out for you what to do every day to be successful. So yeah. And I'll give you my contact information, or I'm sure Corley will ask at the end. And anyone that has questions, you can hit me up. And, here's the other thing about the program. Like, we are not trying to get people to come to send them home. Our goal is to make everyone as successful so we can grow the program. And how are we going to do that? We're going to help you as much as we can. We're not giving information away. But yeah, can we help you learn how to work out to be successful? Yeah. So yeah, man, that's an easy one. Just hit us up.
I love it, man. I love it when people say, how do you get that smoke diver t-shirt? They said you just get it in the gift shop.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's the gift shop, man. They're $20 in the gift shop.
All you got to do is make it to the gift shop. No, absolutely love it. Where we at? I'm going to throw some greetings from Chile from Pablo Malili.
Oh, yeah, man. Pablo.
Greetings from Chile. I'm going to say it.
Hola.
Yeah.
There's like 4 Pablos.
Okay. What motivated you to come to Chile to teach us and give your knowledge?
So that was a once in a lifetime experience. And one of the guys on the training staff named Nelson Ojeda was a firefighter in Santiago, Chile, the capital city. And he has been going back. Nelson's like a lifelong learner, man. And he's taken classes all over the United States. Then he would go home to visit his family, and then he would go to the fire department and give them everything he learned. And so probably about a year and a half ago, a group of maybe 15, 20 dudes, they came to Tulsa. It was awesome. I mean, we had to jump through like 17 hoops to get it done with city legal and, crossing T's, dotting I's. But they came at the perfect time. Like, we just got this apartment complex that was getting torn down, and we did like a month of live 1403 live fire burn. So these dudes rolled in. We're like, this is awesome.
This is what it's like every week, all the time.
But I think it was like the last day we were done with the burns, and we just started showing him some safety and survival stuff, but we didn't have a lot of time. So they contacted Nelson, and they said, hey, if you guys could come and show us this stuff. And like, how do you say no to that? I'm nobody, man. I'm there's been so many pipe hitters on this show. I'm just some dude from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. But if I got guys asking us to come train them and help them get better, they're volunteers, man. But I'm going to tell you what, you get on social media and look up the Santiago Fire Department, those dudes are freaking doing it. We're on their little alerting system. They're 13 floor apartment fire, 7th floor apartment fire. So like these dudes they're doing it. So like if someone's going to ask me to come help, yeah, man, I'm not going to, if it's within my means to get there and give you what I can, then just tell me where to show up, man. So it was an awesome trip, made some great friends. There were like 4 Pablos. That's kind of the joke while we're down there. But what I just wanted to, it's like they say that there's all these sayings in the fire service. It's like the one that says, leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
And was it cool for me to get to go to a different country? Yeah. But if I'm able to like leave it better than I found it, this is a brotherhood. It's not just Oklahoma. So yeah, man, that's what motivated me. What's up, Pablo? Thanks for the question. Good hearing from you, man.
Love that. And that sounds like you learned almost as much doing it as you did taking it.
Oh, dude, it was like I said, it was a once in a lifetime experience. It was so awesome. And like my hat's off when you see like they're all volunteers. Like these dudes, we were doing all the training at night because they're all working all day. And then they'd show up at like 5. And I'm like, well, these dudes got to go to work the next day. We're doing training till minimum 10. There were nights we would go till 12. They wanted to keep going. So we're like, well, we can't tell these dudes, no, we're going to go till the lights go off, man. So it was an awesome trip though. Yeah.
No, that sounds like like you said, once in a lifetime opportunity. McGinn has one more coming at you. This one's earlier and I've been putting it off, but I love this question. So I really want to see what you have to say about it. I don't think it's ever been asked on the scrap really in this format. When or how did you realize you had influence in the firehouse? And how did you change your tactics after finding out?
Man, that's a great question. Who was that? Who asked that?
Andrew McGinn, man. It's a good
Andrew,
I've never heard it before, so I really liked it.
That's a great question, man. And, like I didn't realize it until later in my career. And I'm just trying to, like I said, man, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've learned from them. I just saw myself as someone that's trying to come and do a good job. I never saw myself as a mentor to anyone. And then I'm talking to this dude one day and he told me flat out, he's like, man, you've been a mentor of mine. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this dude's freaking really good. I think this dude's awesome. And like, I'm his mentor. Like I'm a mentor. It was just very it was just a great feeling to know that, I don't know, maybe I made some mistakes, but maybe I'm doing a few things right. But it really kind of changed. It made me think like people are watching all the time. Like, I've been on a minute and, there's this saying that my dad would tell me, and that was like, you can learn something from anyone. It may just not be the right thing. It may be the wrong thing or the right thing. And then you can learn like what not to do or what to do. And when I realized that maybe there's 1 or 2 dudes that are looking to me, it made me really like try to tighten my game up and realize that I got to try to like do better, man. And, but yeah, I went to later in my career. That's a great question, man, because like, I think most people, they don't, this is how firefighters are, man. You don't think you're anything special. And then to find out that someone's like actually looking up to you, for one, it's extremely humbling, but then it makes you want to like really tighten up your game and makes you want to do better. It should, should want to do better. So like finding that out, like, well, I still got a long way to go. It did make me want to do better as well. So great question, man.
Great question, dude. Great answer. So great question. Great answer. Let me look and see what we got. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. I like this one. This is one I'll finish with before we get into some of my favorite questions. But C Younger 13 wants to know, you look like the type of guy who likes quotes. What is your favorite quote?
That is one of my best friends.
Okay.
on the job, and we've worked together. He was my driver. Basically, the joke is between us is I do everything I do to help him advance in the fire service. That's like it's like our joke.
Okay.
But yeah, he knows it. But one of my other good friends, Howard Whitehill, he used to always say, Lloyd's never met a quote he didn't like. So that was like, yeah, I love quotes, man. I got like a book of like 1,000 quotes. I just like, that's my thing, man. But my favorite one, and I have yet to find out who said it. Some said it was Aristotle. Then I like dug in on it. It was some author from like the early 1900s named Elbert Hubbard. But the quote, and this really helped me throughout my career, when people do not agree with things that you do. And it says, to avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. That is my favorite quote. Thank you, Jake.
Hey, I absolutely love it because it's a great segue. And there's so many good questions. Obviously, we're going to have to do this again at some point. So you're going to have to come back. But
yeah, cool, man.
I want to get to, because you've alluded to many times tonight that you're a reader. One of my favorite things to do, if anybody knows me, is I love to read books. If you could look at the piles of books that I have off camera, so it doesn't look like I live in hoarder conditions. But I absolutely have piles of books that are getting ridiculous because I can't read fast enough. But I love this question. It's my favorite question I ask. What are books do you think firefighters should be reading? Doesn't have to be firefighter related. Just what do you think they should be reading?
So I thought about this, and I'm not saying it because I'm on here, but I've watched the scrap for a long time. I've got the first book list when like someone did it on like it wasn't Facebook. Someone did it on like Quora or I don't even, and I downloaded it and I'm like, my God, I can't. This is like a lifetime of books. But then, so I've read a bunch of them, but a lot of them you start seeing the same books because they're awesome. So I knew you were going to ask this question. So I was trying to think of books that are not on there that maybe guys.
I love that.
So I don't know if this one's come up. This is a book that a dude gave me.
I'm excited right now. I want you to know I'm excited right now.
So we had a guy come, a Navy SEAL come out and talk to some of the rescue guys and to the cops. And he invited whoever.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, there's certain books that you should buy and read them and hand them out. So one of the guys read it, gave it to me. And it is this one right here. And it is called Wisdom of the Bullfrog. You read that one?
I'm actually I am actually in the middle of Wisdom of the Bullfrog right now.
So that, like, I had to do some research why he's called the Bullfrog. That's what they call like the senior Navy SEAL.
Yes.
The good thing about this book is like it's a bunch of short, like little stories.
Yeah. Every lesson with a story.
Yeah. It's got a lesson. This is a great one.
It has never been suggested.
So, okay, cool. So this next one, we haven't really talked about it, but I've been involved with martial arts in some form or fashion since I was 16 years old. I love it. I love it, man. I like everything about it. And so I probably had a few years on the job, and we had a PIO at the time named Larry Bowles. And at the time I was still like doing some MMA, mainly this entailed getting my ass kicked a lot. But he knew I liked to fight. And so he suggested this book, and it is called Verbal Judo, The Gentle Art of Persuasion.
Really?
And this book is awesome.
No, I love communication.
The cool thing about this book is it was written by this guy, George Thompson, PhD, but it was co-authored by a cop, Jerry Jenkins. I think he was like Philly, maybe Baltimore, but he was a black belt in judo. And so whenever he came on the job, he was in like the rough area where they're always like getting into it. And like, so his initial MO was like, I'm going to judo throw someone's ass and I'm going to handle it like that. But then as he got seasoned on, as he got more time on, he was like, man, I can get more accomplished by talking people down rather than creating a physical altercation. So the book is called Verbal Judo, The Gentle Art of Persuasion. Let me tell you, if you're going for an assessment center, there's about 87 nuggets in here. I've got half the book highlighted. So it's a good assessment center book, but really it's good for like de-escalating. He talks about one of the calls he goes into a domestic, which he said it's like the worst thing for cops is domestic violence calls. And the chick's got a knife, the dude's got something, they're like fighting, they've already cut each other up, and he walks in and yelling at him and they're ignoring him. And so he like sits down at their kitchen table and he opens up the paper and like pops it out and he starts reading the paper.
Right.
And then it like locks him up. And then once they look at him, he starts calmly talking through the situation. So that's a lot. So verbal judo, that's a pretty good one. This one, I'm sure you've read. Coming from the military, Colin Powell is one of the guys I look up to the most, man. I've tried to learn so much. I've learned so much from his books. So this is a phenomenal book. Last one, it's kind of a joke, but I like a good joke as much as the next guy. So a buddy of mine, Eric Haskins, you ought to get him on here. He's an exercise physiologist degree. He was like, man, the dude's like anything on training and like he's a wealth of knowledge.
Okay. But
he gave me this book and I have not written in it because I want to save it, because every time I'm having a bad day, I look at it. It is called People I Want to Punch in the Face, a Fireman's Journal. So I keep this. It's not an actual book, but I keep it in my desk, and I'm having a bad day. I open it. It makes me laugh. So Haskins, wherever you're at, thank you. One of the best gifts I've ever got. There's a bunch of other. There's one other book that's not firefighter related. So one of the things I did probably about 3 years ago is I was starting to get in. I was reading all the kind of same kind of books. So I Googled authors who've won a Pulitzer Prize. And it gave me this whole list.
I've not done that search. That's pretty cool.
And so I started trying to read some of their books. And there's this guy, David Finkel, and he wrote this book. It is called The Good Soldiers. It's not about the fire service, but it's about an army unit that went to Iraq during what was called the Surge. So like some of the heaviest fighting. And it just talked about what they went through. But then it talked about it like from their commander's perspective of like him seeing all the stuff his guys went through and seeing his guys get killed. They had like all these guys get killed and injured and like it is like a tearjerker. It's a book that I think any politician has any say in sending people anywhere with the military. I think it should be on a required reading list. So it's not fire related, but I can't say it's a good book, because it's like dark, but it's a book that I think everyone should read. So
I'm telling you right now, I'm excited because every time I have a scrap, I add another like 4.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but when someone does their research and then you just added like 5 to my piles of to be read. So
you'll be reading till you're like 85 years old, like me.
Yeah, dude, I'll never catch up. I will never catch up. You see the piles beside me. And someday I'll just take a picture and share it. But here's the deal. I don't do this often, but I'm doing it tonight, which is, I think the last time was Todd Edwards. I love Todd Edwards. He's one of my best friends. But I have to hit the head. So I was thinking, before I do the 5 questions for firefighters, because I don't want to sell you short, I want to give you a chance, because there's a topic we wanted to talk about and we didn't get to it, and that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, how important it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to give you the floor with absolutely no other than I'm giving you the floor, and I'm going to step out of the room, and it's your floor to talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, its application to the fire service, and whatever direction you want to take it. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'll make it short and sweet, man. So
take your time.
So yeah, it's like a lot of the guys that know me, it's kind of like CrossFit. When CrossFit came around, like, what's the number one rule of CrossFit? Everyone has to talk about it. Jiu-jitsu kind of was the same. I used to talk about it all the time. Guys be bleeding at the ears. So I try to talk about it. It's something I've done a long time. I love it. But I think one of the ways that it applies to the fire service, going back to Bullock's question earlier on mental toughness and building it, and going back to doing things every day that you don't want to do. I love going, I love training. But there's days that I'm tired and I'm sore and, excuse. It's something that's always there. It's a way that I'm always able to test myself. It's a way that I'm able to build mental toughness for those of you guys out there that have trained in jiu-jitsu or wrestling. We do 5-minute rounds, and I'm 52 years old, and I'm in there some days going against 25-year-old D1, D2. It don't matter. If you're a college wrestler, you're legit. And you're in there getting smashed by these guys. And it's kind of like I talked about earlier. All you got to do is tap out. And, obviously if someone's getting ready to hurt me or, get you in the move, you're going to tap. But a lot of times it's just you're in uncomfortable spots and you've got the choice to give up or keep going. So it's kind of like a controlled way to continue building mental toughness. And then like I heard a guy on here say in one of the other podcasts, it's good for your decision making, like especially as you get older. Like I read that for mental health, you got to do something that makes you think every day. Jiu-jitsu is something that makes you do that. And then, yeah, man, it's just, it's great, man. That's it, man. Like I said, I'm not going to bore you guys to death with jiu-jitsu. All I can say is that you want to build mental toughness. Oh, here's the last thing. It's like keeping you humble, man. It's just like, that's the great thing about it. Like you go in there, some days there's a saying in jiu-jitsu, like some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. There's days I go in there and I leave and I'm like, I'm pretty good at this. And there's days I go in there and I get destroyed by half the group and I want to throw my bag out the window on the way home. But it's good, man, because it's keeping you humble. It's just got a lot of great life applications, man. So some of you guys your ears are bleeding, but I do know that a lot of guys are starting to do it. The other cool thing about it is as you get older, if you're at the right gym, you can go 100 miles an hour, you can go 50 miles an hour, or you can go over here and go 25 miles an hour. It's just something that you can continue to do as you're older. Now, having said that, I will say I've had three surgeries from jiu-jitsu. So yeah, there is that, but it is what it is, man. So that's about all I got.
I love it. I just what I heard at the end, but thank you. And there's not many people I trust because me and Bryan, it's not like we live in the same state, but it's not like we're just best friends that go have lunch all the time or anything like that. But I knew just within the first hour of talking to him that I could trust him with the scrap, and he absolutely crushed it. I heard humility, and I heard like a mental toughness. So
I was telling him when you're laying under a D1 wrestler on a 5-minute round, and you look over and there's 4 minutes left. You're like, if, for some reason, when you're on the mat, 5 minutes feels like 6 hours when you're getting smashed. And I was telling him, you got the choice that you can just give up or you can power through it. And like, it's building your mental toughness, man. I believe. Dude,
there's nothing like it. There's, I say nothing like it. It's what I know. I didn't wrestle in high school. I'm from Oklahoma, but I didn't wrestle, going through high school or anything like that. I will tell you this is one of my stories is it's a life lesson really. And I was up against the black belt, and we were open mat and not a big deal, but there was a point where I bench pressed him off me. Right. Cause I'm a strong dude and that's no big deal. I'm a bigger dude in my gym. And it was at that point where he knew he fucked up, that type moment. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing I knew is I had the most crushing pressure I've ever felt in my life. Like I had never felt pressure like that on a side control when he came back in there. And when it was over, because all I could do was just survive, like just try to get my next gulp of air for the next 2 minutes or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, I have never felt pressure like that before in my life. And he said, well, I can't have you, throwing me. He was just matching my intensity because I was doing a white belt fury. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man.
And I realized that happened because of me. It wasn't like it's just a realization. It's a humbling experience to realize that
it's very humbling. And if you got like a lot of stuff going on in your life, all of us are super busy, you're stressed, worrying about money, worrying about this, that, the other. It's a place that you can go in for 1 hour, hour and a half a day. And I promise you, when dudes are trying to smash you and choke you out, you are not thinking about any of that stuff. And it sounds funny, but it's like a mental break for me. I can go in there, I'm not thinking about anything, but just doing the class. And then, so there's a lot of things I like about it. But
all right. No, hey, and the application to the fire service is amazing.
Yeah.
So and I don't know of a better cardiovascular workout, man,
Yeah.
than just rolling. So all that being said, we have a thing on here called the 5 questions for firefighters. It's my favorite 5 questions. Right now, we're currently in version 3.2. There are no wrong or right answers. They are all just your opinion, but the points are arbitrary. They're passed out by me with the help of the studio audience. You've already got a few max points, but they don't count because now it's the 5 questions time. My first question is, are you ready for the 5 questions?
I took some notes for this one actually, man. So yeah, I'm ready.
I'm excited. Okay. Number 1, what is the skill that has carried you through your fire service career?
So I had to look up like what qualifies as a skill versus a trait characteristic. Okay. So I don't think this was not a skill, probably more of a trait, but I put honest self-reflection. And what I mean by that is, being able to be honest with myself and look at areas that I'm competent in, but then identify areas that I suck at, and then not letting my pride get in the way. And I'm telling you, man, like guys that know me, they know I will ask a stupid question. Like I will ask a captain, or I got guys that I work with that all have their unique skill set, and I'll ask questions, and they're probably like in their head, they're probably thinking this dude should probably know this, but I trust them, and it's just being honestly looking at myself, assessing what I'm okay at and what I need to work on, and then learning from it, man.
You don't know me. I'm telling you this right now. I have a conversation with one of my company officers almost on the daily, and we have a trait that we call coclosity, right? And it's we made it up, right? But it's what you just described.
Yeah.
Like cool. That is what you just described. Coclosity. Now, right. I keep telling him I'm going to come up with a better name for it than that. But that's what we call it all the time, because it is that it's more than just humility. It's more than just the ability to be wrong. It's more than just looking in the mirror and seeing a good reflection. It's the ability to pierce through your own self-deception. It's all of it wrapped into one, and you just encapsulated it. So that's the easiest max. I'm going to call it the most max points. I don't know if I've ever given most max points.
For my buddies that are listening, the secondary one is my approachability. And so
say that again.
The second skill would be my approachability.
Approachability.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, one of my nicknames is Mr. Approachable. I'm like, I'm working on it, man. I'm like,
okay.
Years ago, that we had this chief that I really looked up to. That, like, I was like, man, I want to be like this dude. Like, everyone loves him, and he's like always happy. It's like I'm trying to like smile all the time and come in for side hugs. And dudes are like, dude, you're freaking me out. What are you doing?
What's wrong with you?
I'm trying to like be more approachable. They're like, stop, just do your thing, man. It's not working.
So approachable.
But I'm trying.
AJ Morrison put 15 laughing emojis and said, so approachable. I love it. I absolutely love it. Max points on number 1. Most max points. Number 2, it's Job Town. It's time. You got to think of the scene in Backdraft where he's slapping that tape into the cassette deck. What is the song you are playing en route?
Oh, man. I had to think about this one because I freaking love music, man. But the dudes that know me the best know that I like 2 kinds of music, and that is heavy and metal. And I'm rolling with one of my all-time favorites, Pantera, Walk.
Walk.
Yeah. Anything by Pantera, man.
I don't know if I know Pantera's been on there before. I think Cowboys from Hell, but I don't know if Walk has been on.
Just opens up with the crunchy guitar.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
dude, one of the best riffs of all time. Like, absolutely. Max points, easy. AJ Morrison said something by Pantera. Okay, number 3. What is your favorite fire service tradition?
So a lot of them that I thought of have been said, so I'm trying not to say one that's been said, but I don't know that you'd call this a tradition, and I kind of got to be part of it as a district chief, but not as the training chief. I don't get to be part of it, but my favorite thing all coming up was loading hose after a fire. And what I mean by that, it's like, you just come out, you're like pumped, you're talking about the job, everyone's laughing, joking around, and if it went well, and man, like that camaraderie. And then, I can remember times doing that. Maybe it's 2 a.m. and it's like raining or snowing. No one's complaining and everyone's having a great time. And then just like looking around at these dudes and thinking, man, I get the opportunity to be bigger. I'm part of something that's bigger than me. And that is something that when I'm retired, and even as a train chief, I miss that. That's one of my, that and the kitchen table, which everyone says, but that was one of my favorite things, man.
Love it. No, loading hose, without a doubt. Brother, you can't go wrong. 3 for 3, crushing max points. Number 4, this one's on the clock.
All right.
We got 1 minute, and we had to put it on the clock because it just goes so many directions. But it really does put a pressure on the guests, so I really like it. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of the fire service?
All right. So I looked up some history on the Mount Rushmore, why the 4 guys were selected. And so for me, first one's my captain, Tony Raines. If I hadn't got a guy like him, my fire service career would have taken a different turn. Second one, Chief Alan Brunacini. I hear that one a lot. Where I put some notes. I put limited interaction, lasting impression. The fact that Penwell was in Tulsa, they would do the dinners where they pick the classes. I got to go to dinner with him once. I got to hang out with him another time. And the fact that guy took the time to talk to me, nobody from nowhere, was awesome. Third, Chief Bobby Halton. I put big personality, always made me feel like the most important person in the room. Fourth, I put Chief David Rhodes. I know it's supposed to be 4, but I put Chief David Rhodes and the Georgia Smoke Divers for their friendship, mentoring, and believing in a bunch of rednecks from Oklahoma. Bam, that's it.
And I think I think Rhodes encapsulates the whole program.
Now it's Casto, but he was one of them.
I get you.
He was one of them that was in my journey from the start. So it's all of them, man.
Raines, Bruno, Halton, Rhodes. That's a pretty salty. That's a pretty salty Mount Rushmore, my brother. That is a max points. Easy. Now, you did say you spent most of your time on an engine. So I love this next question. It's my favorite question I ask. And it's heavy fire. You're rolling up. There's heavy fire. It's going. There's searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
So that's simple, man. VES all day. And here's why. Rolling down a hallway with fire over my head and hot is one of the biggest adrenaline rushes. It's awesome. But man, I picked VES is, I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time a few times in my career where myself and different crews were able to pull people out, of fires. And not a lot, a couple times it happened. But I can, this might sound like coming across like a douche, but because it's not about us and that's the job, man. But like for all the mistakes that I've made and for all the things that I've messed up, I can remember those times we're driving home the next day and thinking like all the bad stuff I did, myself and these other dudes, I got to play a small part in changing someone's life for the better. And that is why I signed up to do this job. And that is a feeling that you can't buy that, man. So yeah, like I said, I was fortunate to be in the right place at the right time with some awesome crews that knew what they were doing. And so it's VES all day for me, man.
Brother. Yeah, easy. Thank you. 5 for 5, max points. Bryan Lloyd officially making it 256 scraps in the books. My brother, I cannot say enough how much I've had fun this evening. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do so?
Man, Bryan, let's BRYAN LLOYD at OklahomaSmokeDiver.com. probably don't call me. Brian Brush has constantly busted my balls about how many phones I've gone through. I'm like, bro, I'm cheap. The department tells me it's this phone. That's the phone I'm using, man. So probably not my phone number on Facebook. We're real good at, if you message Oklahoma Smoke Diver on the Facebook, we'll respond within the day with at least. So pretty easy to get a hold of, man.
Brother. No, dude, you absolutely. Thank you for spending your evening with us on the scrap, man, because it was
Thanks for having me, man.
It was killer. Housekeeping. Go to firehousevigilance.com. You can now join the Vigilantes for an annual membership. You don't have to pay it monthly. If you don't like monthly subscriptions, go sign up. Coming up this Wednesday, 2 days from today, the 31st, Frank Lieb, one of the best dudes on the planet. He's our featured VIP guest on the forum. 2 days from now. Go become a Vigilante if you want to be a part. Of course, one of the cool parts of being a Vigilante is we get to have a after party with the guest. Bryan Lloyd has agreed to come and be and appear because it's supposed to be a roast. We're supposed to roast him on how poorly he did.
I got thick skin, man.
So he says, bring it. He basically said, bring it.
Hold on, I didn't say that,
but he will be there. So if you're a Vigilante, Sam is now posting the link to join it because that's going to happen in a few minutes. What else have I got? Go bust his chops. Yeah, they never bust your chops, I promise. I mean, it's pathetic almost, but not the point. Coming up on the scrap. This has never been done in the history of the scrap, but because I booked out I was so efficient, I booked out the entire rest of 2024, right? I was so efficient. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And then Dave McGrail called, who I'd been trying to get on for a while. He called and said, hey, I want to have me and my dad on. And I'm like, holy crap. That's the amazing scrap I want to have. And so it's tomorrow. Bryan Lloyd tonight, tomorrow night, Dave McGrail and his father, 75 or 70 plus years of fire service at the Denver Fire Department. And we're going to get some stories. We're going to get, it's called From Hose Wagons to Hydrant Valves. It's going to be amazing. So that's tomorrow night. And I've never tried to do this before. My wife is like, are you crazy? And I'm like, yeah, probably. First time ever father and son interview. You don't want to miss it. I'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be a scrap for the ages. The final thing I want to throw at you is this August, less than a month away. It's never been done in the history of the scrap. I try not to be too hyperbolic and too much hype, but literally it's 5 years of the scrap. The scrap's now been around for 5 years, which is insane to say. This has never happened, and it's happening in a month. I'm gonna try at some point to find some time to make another post about it, but I'm teasing everybody here to say this has never been done on the scrap. It's going to happen on August, the second 2 weeks of August, the last two scraps of August. It's going to happen. That's it. If anybody wants to try and guess what it is, please post it in the comments. Enough jabbering from me. Let's get to the after party. Bryan Lloyd, man, thank you once again, dude. You crushed it.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Audience, I can't ever tell you enough how much you mean to the scrap, how much you make the scrap magical, and how much your questions, you guys know how to throw the perfect tosses to the guests so they can crush them and knock them out of the park. You make the scrap magical. It would not exist without you. So thank you for tuning in each and every week. Remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tones stay silent unless it is burning. Everybody, stay safe out there.
I got to hit the bathroom real quick, man.